Schools feel different after hours. During the day, they're loud, lockers slamming, people laughing, teachers talking over each other. But at night, in shame, or even during certain quiet moments, they feel hollow, like something's still there when it shouldn't be. These are three disturbing true school horror stories. The first story happened to a high school junior named Caleb. It was late October, and he had stayed after school to finish a group project in the library. His two friends left around 5:30 p.m., but Caleb stayed behind to print everything out and organize the slides. By the time he finished, it was almost 6:15. The sun had already set. The school felt strangely quiet. Most of the lights in the hallways had been turned off, leaving only every third fixture glowing dimly. The custodian's cart was parked near the science wing, but Caleb didn't see anyone around. As he walked toward the main exit, he heard a locker slam somewhere behind him. He stopped. The sound echoed down the hallway. He turned around, expecting to see someone. Nothing. He told himself it was probably a teacher or a coach in one of the classrooms. He kept walking. Halfway down the hallway, he heard footsteps. Not fast, not running, just walking. A steady pace. Behind him. He didn't turn around immediately. He didn't want to look paranoid if it was just staff, but the footsteps didn't pass him. They stayed the same distance behind him. He slowed down slightly. The footsteps slowed too. His chest tightened. He stopped walking. The footsteps stopped. The hallway went completely silent. Caleb slowly turned around. The hallway was empty. Classroom doors closed. Lockers still. No one. He stood there for a few seconds, listening. Then, from the far end of the hallway near the gym doors, he saw something move. A tall figure stepped out from around the corner. It wasn't a student. It wasn't wearing school colors or carrying a backpack. It just stood there, watching him. The lights above that section flickered. Caleb felt frozen. "Hello?" he called out, trying to sound confident. The figure didn't respond. It took one step forward, then another, slow, deliberate. Caleb backed up instinctively. The main exit was still about 20 feet away. He turned and started walking faster. The footsteps resumed behind him, matching his pace. He didn't look back this time. He reached the exit doors and pushed them open, practically running into the parking lot. When he turned around to look through the glass doors, the hallway was empty. The next morning, he told the vice principal. Security footage was reviewed. The camera showed Caleb walking alone down the hallway, stopping, turning, standing still. But there was no one behind him. No figure near the gym doors. Nothing. The second story comes from a middle school teacher named Ms. Alvarez. She had been teaching for over 12 years and had never experienced anything she couldn't explain. Until one winter afternoon. It was early December, and school had been dismissed for the day. Snow was falling heavily outside, and most of the staff had already left. Ms. Alvarez stayed late to finish grading papers. Around 5 p.m., she heard a faint intercom crackle. The school intercom system hadn't been used since dismissal. She looked up from her desk. The speaker in her classroom emitted a soft static noise. Then she heard it, a whisper, not clear enough to make out words, just a low murmur. She stood up slowly and walked toward the door, listening. The whispering continued for about 5 seconds, then stopped. She stepped into the hallway. Empty. Lights dimmed for evening mode. She walked toward the main office, thinking maybe someone had accidentally triggered the system. As she passed the art room, she heard something else. A chair scraping against the floor. Inside. She knew for a fact the art teacher had left hours ago. She hesitated outside the door. "Hello?" she called softly. No answer. She slowly pushed the door open. The classroom was dark except for faint light from the hallway. Desks arranged neatly, supplies put away. But one chair near the back of the room was slightly pulled out. She was certain they stacked chairs before leaving. As she stepped inside, the intercom crackled again. This time, the whisper was clearer. It sounded like someone saying her name. She felt a wave of cold rush through her. She left immediately and called the principal from her car. When they checked the intercom system logs the next day, there was no record of it being activated. The final story is the most unsettling. It happened to a college freshman named Tyler during finals week. He had found an empty classroom in an older campus building to study late at night. The building officially closed at 10 p.m., but students often stayed later during exams. Around 11:45 p.m., he realized he was completely alone on the floor. The hallway outside was silent. As he packed up his laptop, he heard a faint knocking sound. 3 knocks, evenly spaced. He assumed it was someone in another classroom. Then it happened again. 3 knocks. Closer this time, he stepped into the hallway. The lights flickered faintly overhead. The knocking came from the end of the corridor, a classroom with its door slightly open. He approached slowly. The knocking stopped. He pushed the door open wider. The room was empty. No bags, no laptops, no people. He stepped inside. That's when the door behind him slammed shut. Hard. He jumped and turned around. The handle wouldn't move. It felt jammed. His heart started racing. He pulled his phone out to call campus security. No signal. The knocking started again. 3 knocks, this time coming from inside the room. From the wall behind the whiteboard, he backed away slowly. The knocking continued. 3 slow taps. Over and over. He started banging on the door, yelling for Nimab. After what felt like 10 minutes, the door suddenly opened on its own. Campus security was standing outside. They had received a call about disturbance noises on that floor. Tyler never figured out who made that call. When maintenance inspected the classroom wall the next day, they found no hollow spaces, no pipes, no hidden rooms, just solid brick behind the drywall. Schools are supposed to feel safe, structured, supervised. But once the hall's empty, once the lights dim, and you realize you're alone, sometimes you're not as alone as you think. And the scariest part? The cameras don't always show everything.